Hello, my name is Billy Alton.
And I'm Serrana Rogers.
We will be joined today by several of our friends and colleagues from Arkansas Can Do Incorporated as we present to you an overview of the Disability and Awareness Education and Training Program, a part of the Believe Achieve campaign.
Arkansas Can Do is a collaboration of individuals with disabilities, their family members, and representatives from agencies and organizations interested in disability issues. Our purpose is to increase the positive perceptions of all people regarding the vitality, importance, and value of people with disabilities.
Today we're going to explore the myths and stereotypes associated with people with disabilities, provide you some tips on interacting with people, a quick look at the ADA, and a little quiz at the end to see how well we did. Now, a crowning moment in the disability rights history occurred on July 26, 1990, with the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act, or what is commonly known as the ADA. The ADA has been instrumental in enriching the lives of millions of Americans by helping to level the playing field. The ADA prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability in employment, state and local government, public accommodations, commercial facilities, transportation, and telecommunications. This is a pretty exhaustive list. However, there is one thing the ADA cannot legislate, and that is attitudes. Suppose I were to say to you, people who are blind live in a world of blank. A common response would be darkness.
Suppose I were to say people who are deaf live in a world of... A common response would be silence.
These are the types of perceptions about people with disabilities we want to eliminate. People who are blind can and do lead very productive lives, and people who are deaf have a story to be heard. If the general public could see people with disabilities as productive, contributing members of society, focusing on what they can do, then other issues would be easier to address. Now Serrana will tell us a little bit about how people with disabilities fit in their communities and some of the myths and facts associated with people with disabilities.
Just a few points to ponder before we get started to help frame our thought process. You need to know that disabilities are no respecter of people. A disability can happen to anybody at any time, and no amount of money or education can make you exempt. A disability comes with varying levels of severity, and it's going to differ from one person to the next. Having a disability is not unlike any other circumstance in life. It's just a part of life that happens to one of 4 people. And I've said many times, we don't get to choose the hand that's dealt to us. We just get to choose how we play it out. Evolving technology and laws such as the ADA give people with disabilities opportunities that haven't always been there. When given the same opportunities, people with disabilities can and do live and work in their communities. Some disabilities are apparent, but not all are visible, so you may or may not know who lives in your community. They're your neighbors, co-workers, members of your local government, perhaps a teacher at your child's school, a local store owner, or a business executive. They're family, friends, but most importantly, above all, they're people. So let's begin with that. First and foremost, you want to see the person. A person with a disability is a person and should be treated with the same respect and manners that you would anyone else. A person's disability should not define them, rather their character. Though a person may talk or look different than you do, that doesn't make them any less of a person. When you reference a person with a disability, unless a description is necessary, why use one? If a description is needed, use people-first language in referring to the person, such as a person with a disability, a student who uses a wheelchair, a woman who is deaf or hard of hearing, a person with an intellectual disability. You get it? People in general don't like to be labeled at all. Let's see what Hannah and Hunter have to say on this topic.
Hi, I'm Hannah, and this is my brother, Nicholas. Together we want to talk to you about people. People, Moms, dads, sisters and brothers, family, friends, classmates, teachers, professionals, you know, people. Even some famous people like Walt Disney, Michael Phelps, Tom Cruise, Stevie Wonder, Christopher Reeves, President Abraham Lincoln. What do they all have in common? They have a disability of some kind, like my brother Nicholas. What does it mean to have a disability? Well, a disability can be something you're born with or something that happens later, from an illness, an accident, or an injury. It can be like a roadblock, not always because of the disability itself, but because of how people feel, act, and think about people with disabilities. That's the biggest roadblock. Sometimes people may have negative attitudes toward people with disabilities and not give them a chance to show what they can do. Everyone should be given an opportunity to participate and be included in their schools and community. That is called full inclusion. Every morning during the week, my dad takes me to school while Nicholas sits down later in our dining room for homeschooling. My friend Caroline rides the bus to school, and my friends Rebecca and Amanda live near the school, so they walk. My point is, we all get to school, just not the same way. We all have our individual routes and vehicles to get us where we need or want to go, just like people who have disabilities. Having a disability just means achieving or processing information differently. We're all people who have similar goals, such as enjoying life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. For Nicholas, having a disability means a little bit of talking, some writing, and using some sign language to communicate. Nicholas also has a harder time being in some places because of the noise, the smells, or the amount of people around. For my friend Hunter, a disability means the use of adaptive equipment to help him breathe and get around, as well as sign language to communicate. Hunter will say whatever he wants that will be voiced by an interpreter.
And like playing with friends, my friend Alex, and friends and other kids, and Monster Jam. I like to fly too, and I like to see the clouds.
Next, speak directly to the person. Face-to-face communication is the best way to communicate. Whether or not a person can hear or understand you, the person can often read your lips or your facial expressions. And if an interpreter is being used, do not address him or her. Address the person that you want to communicate with. The interpreter is there for the purpose of communication only. They are just there to facilitate communication. And don't ask a companion or a care provider about the preferences of the person with a disability. Ask the person directly, even when you know the person may need assistance in responding. Let's hear from some of our friends on this topic.
Hello. Oh, that's you in front of me. A deaf people. Oh no, how awkward you feel with an interpreter of what's going on. It's very important for you to talk to me. Talk directly to me. Don't look at the interpreter. Look directly at me. And I will look between the two of you to see what you're saying. Don't say, tell him. Tell him, just talk directly to me.
And it's always better to talk to the person, because when you speak to someone else, it makes you feel like they're not interested in what you have to say or what you're doing. And like I said, when we was doing the polling site surveys, it was like people wouldn't talk to me, they would talk to her, and it made me feel terrible as a person, because as a person with a disability, we want to be communicated with just like everyone else. We don't want to have derogatory comments made like, well, does he want to vote? Is he visually impaired? Or things like that. We want to make sure that people are treated with the utmost respect. So that's why it's important to speak directly to the person instead of speaking to someone they're with.
Hello, my name's Eric Treat. I was born with several disabilities, and it's very difficult on me because people, my disabilities are so visible. People don't think I know what I'm doing, or if I know what's going on in the world. For one example, I was at a restaurant one night, and I was sitting there with somebody, and the waiter walked up and pointed to me and looked at my buddy I was with and said, what does he want to eat? And I looked at it, to the waiter and said, I looked at the waiter and I said, she knows what he wants to eat.
Always use normal communication skills. You want to listen attentively, and you want to make an effort to understand the person that's speaking. Don't interrupt someone mid-sentence. Wait until the person's finished, even if it's a habit, and then if you need clarification, repeat or paraphrase their statements back to them. If you provide feedback like nodding or giving verbal reinforcement or facial expressions, that will help communicate that you're listening. Make your responses clear and concise. If you talk really, really fast, then you're going to want to slow down your speech if an interpreter is being used. If you're communicating with someone who is seated or short in stature, sit or kneel down to allow that face-to-face communication. Don't worry about using common terms that may seem inappropriate. Let's go for a walk, or did you see the news? Common phrases that refer to hearing, walking, or seeing are hardly ever taken the wrong way. Identify yourself and shake hands, particularly if a person has a visual impairment or difficulty with memory or recognition. The person will appreciate you announcing yourself and saying your name. Hi, Mr. Jones, I'm Sally Smith from Arkansas Can Do. In America, shaking hands is an accepted practice when you meet another person, whether or not you've met before. So extend your hand and lightly grasp or touch the person's hand. Shaking hands in this way is also acceptable in situations when the person cannot extend his or her hand, or when that person uses their left hand instead of their right.
Treat adults as adults. Every person has dignity, and it should be respected. Whether a person is short in stature or has limitations in his or her cognitive or communication skills, they should be addressed as an adult. This means addressing strangers as Mr. or Mrs., using simple adult language, and avoiding childlike references. Are you having a good time? And do not pat an adult on the head or shoulders. Do not use such labels as special or inspirational. Labels are for jars, not people. Do not ask strangers questions about their disability. What happened to you? Can you see at all? Is that a fake leg? You would not ask a stranger his or her age, weight, or religion. A person's disability is also a personal issue.
My name is Amy Rao, and I'm small because I'm Down syndrome. And people think because I'm a little girl, but I am a woman.
I think it's very important that people be treated with age-appropriate respect. If I'm talked to like a child and treated like a child, then I tend to behave like a child. But if I'm treated with respect as an adult, then I have confidence and I behave as an adult.
Don't touch a person's assistive device. A person's adaptive equipment should be considered a part of that person and should be given personal space. Do not touch or lean against a person's walker, wheelchair, or crutches. Many power devices, such as communication devices and prostheses, are very complex and can be easily disturbed by a touch or sudden change. These are working pieces of equipment and should not be treated as toys. Can I try that? This is the same for service animals. They should not be petted, talked to, or distracted while working. You wouldn't ask to try on another person's shoes or glasses in a social situation. This is the same. So let's get Chuck's advice on this.
Hi, my name's Chuck, and this is my service dog, Dulcie. Dulcie does a lot to help me, like picking up things that I've dropped, pencils, papers, even books. She does this because she was trained and because we have a bond, a friendship that we share. We have this bond because I'm the main one that pets her and talks to her and provides care for her. When other people talk to her or pet her, it can distract her from doing her job of helping me. So if you see someone with a service animal, speak to the person. Ask them about their animal. But never speak to their animal and never pet the animal without asking. And if they tell you no, tell them you understand why.
Offer assistance and wait. Not everyone with a disability wants or needs help. By asking, You give the person a chance to decide whether or not they want or need help. Pushing a wheelchair, moving items, taking items out of a person's hands, or grabbing an arm or leg may cause more of a disturbance than help. Make a specific offer. Can I give you a hand with that heavy door? Or may I reach that carton for you? Can I help you read those signs? Rather than, do you need help? Wait for acceptance before helping. Provide a brief description of what you're doing as you help. I'll take that bag from your left hand. Or I'm reading the building directory. Or even better, what's the best way I can help you? Don't make the person feel helpless by accepting your offer. Unwanted help is no help at all. People with disabilities don't need or want sympathy or empathy. Well-meaning people often feel a need to tell a person with a disability what they would, could, or should do to improve their condition. I saw a show on TV, or my uncle was temporarily blinded, but now he sees just fine. Or my personal favorite, if you just think positive and have faith. Most conditions are permanent and will not change no matter what a person does or feels. Despite the fact that we use the analogy, walk a mile in my shoes, most of us haven't. And comments such as, I was on crutches for 3 weeks, or I know how you feel, or I wear contacts, or I'd be blind too, might be seen as disrespectful. Few of us, with or without disabilities, want another person's sympathy. Telling a person that he or she is inspirational, special, or a pioneer for accomplishing normal daily tasks may make you appear shallow or without empathy.
I have Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism. I was told most of my life to look people in the eye regardless if it made me comfortable or not. Through the love of my family, friends, and my gift of tenacity, I was able to overcome that and be high functioning. And here I stand before you today, achieving what was thought to be the unachievable.
Next, my favorite is question the accuracy of stereotypes. Unfortunately, the majority of what the average layperson knows about any given disability is what they see or hear from the media. News stories, television, movies, all have done a great disservice in stereotyping people with disabilities. And like most of what you see and hear, there's a lot of fiction mixed in with a few facts. And I think the different mediums would have us believe that anyone and everyone with a mental health diagnosis can or will go postal at any given time, taking exception to the inappropriate usage of that term. The truth is, people with mental health disorders are far more likely to be the victim than the perpetrator of a crime like that. And I think people with disabilities in general are frequently portrayed as helpless, homeless, hopeless, and unemployed, or the person with a disability is portrayed as superhuman, inspirational, or heroic just because they get dressed the same way that we do, just because they drive, you know, that's just everyday living. In either case, these types of depictions and portrayals have been responsible for perpetuating stigma and stereotyping for many, many years. The media is beginning to do a better job portraying people with disabilities as who they are, people. A lot of damage has already been done, but you can help change false perceptions. Educate yourself.
Hi, my name is Julie, and I was born with cerebral palsy. And all my life, people have put stereotypes and labels on me that are not true. People have called me retarded, pitiful, drunk, stupid, freak. Just because I have a disability, it's not fair to label people. People with disabilities want to be treated as people first. And we want all our kids and all Americans to know that we are people first, and stereotypes are wrong, and people are wrong to label people. And the only label I like to be is good labels. Call me by my name. Hi, Mom.
Cans of food have labels on them to help people identify what's inside of them. People are different. We're not cans, yet many people with disabilities are negatively labeled before anyone ever learns who they are inside. If you use labels, make sure they help, not hurt. We are all in this amazing race together, regardless of our abilities or our obstacles. We all share the same goals. It's not about a race to see who wins. If we help each other, we will all win. More importantly, it's about everyone having the opportunity to run in the race, regardless of when or how we cross the finish line.
Sarana, as a person with a hidden disability, what is the biggest obstacle that you're faced with?
Billy, the biggest problem I have with having been diagnosed with depression and anxiety is people not believing that I have it. You know, I don't get up in the morning and put them on like I do my clothes. So most people can't see it. It's not who I am, it's just what I have. You know, I don't want people to see depression when they see me. I just want them to see me. And they do. That's why it's hard for folks to believe that I have something, even though they can't see it openly manifested in me, because I don't fit the average layperson's ideology or perception of someone having depression. I do feel safe in saying this, that I fall into the majority of people with a mental health disorder. You know, I work full time, I own my own home, I have grandkids, and I live life to the fullest extent possible. You could say I'm just an everyday person, but your everyday person may fear disclosing that they have any kind of mental health diagnosis due to the high rate of stigma that comes along with that. Again, you must question the accuracy of stereotypes. Sensationalized accounts of people with mental illnesses being touted as psychotic killers. They take the most severe of situations to report on, leaving the impression that anyone with a mental illness is prone to the same types of behavior as seen on TV. There are many different types of mental health diagnosis. Remember the points to ponder on how disabilities have different levels of severity? Well, the same is true with a mental illness. We all, as humans, are uniquely different. We have different backgrounds and different experiences. There is no one size fits all. I think ignorance and stereotyping are two of the worst overall enemies a person with any kind of disability can have. And finally, the last in our tips of common courtesies is relax. Just be you. Follow the golden rule until you can achieve the platinum rule. We all know the golden rule is to treat others the way you want to be treated. The platinum rule can only be applied after getting to know someone. If you have the opportunity to meet someone with a disability, educate yourself, do your homework, research their particular disability. But the best way to learn about a person's disability is to learn about the person who has it. Get to know that person. Then you can use the platinum rule. Treat others the way they want to be treated.
In closing, we want to give a big thank you to all the members of Arkansas Can Do for their input, especially Hannah and Nicholas Cozart, Brian Cozart, Ira Gurlis, Vincent McKinney, Eric Treat, Amy and Polly Rowell, Chuck Archer, Austin Armstrong, Hunter Wilson, and Julie Petty. This is truly a team effort. So now is the time I know you've been waiting for. It's test time. And to administer the test, I want to send it over to one of our newest team members, Hannah Cozart. Take it away, Hannah.
Thanks, Billy. It is time for a test. Number 1. The following statements are acceptable when describing a person with a disability. A. He is an individual with epilepsy. B. He suffers from a congenital birth defect. C. She uses a wheelchair. Or D. She is handicapped or disabled. The correct answers were A, he is an individual with epilepsy, and C, she uses a wheelchair. Number 2, the adaptive equipment that a person with a disability uses should be considered part of that person and should be given personal space. True or false? The correct answer was true. Number 3, when talking to a person who is deaf or hard of hearing, it is most acceptable to A, speak directly to the sign language interpreter, B, speak directly to that person in a normal voice, C, raise your voice, or D, always communicate in writing. The correct answer was B, speak directly to that person in a normal voice. Number 4, when you first meet someone who uses a wheelchair, it is most helpful to A, move all items out of their path, B, offer assistance and wait until it is accepted, C, push their wheelchair, or D, take items out of their hands. The correct answer was B, offer assistance and wait until it is accepted. It is considered inappropriate to use the phrase, see you later, when talking to a person who is blind. True or false? The correct answer was false. Number 6, it is appropriate to touch or pet or service animal when A, their owner is standing still, B, it is never appropriate to touch or pet a service animal without permission of its owner, or C, their owner is seated and the animal is resting. The correct answer is B, it is never appropriate to touch or pet a service animal without permission of its owner. Number 7, you are talking to a person who has a speech challenge and you believe you know what he intends to say, even though he has not finished speaking. Should you A, wait patiently for him to complete his answer, B, finish his thought to save him the effort, or C, indicate with your body language that you need to leave? The correct answer is A, wait patiently for him to complete his answer. Number 8, people who are blind develop a sixth sense. True or false? The correct answer is false. Number 9, the following words should be avoided because they have negative connotations. A, deaf and dumb, B, birth defect, C, brain injury, or D, fits. The correct answers are A, deaf and dumb, B, birth defect, and D, fits. Number 10, the ADA is an association for persons with disabilities. True or false? The correct answer was false.
If you'd like more information about the Arkansas Can Do, if you'd like to become a member or would like a face-to-face training, please log on to our website at www.arkcando.org or call 800-342-2923. Again, www.arkcando.org or call us at 800-342-2923.
In a world of disability, we find ability. We laugh,
Cry,
Live,
die,
Work,
play,
love and marry.
we are neighbors.
Friends,
Parents.
volunteers, and
Citizens.
We believe we achieve.